Hey, here's a spoiler-filled summary of The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. It's based on my take and skips some scenes. Book link is in the description. The story starts with Star Carter attending a party in Garden Heights with her friend Kenya. Kenya introduced Star to her friends but later left her alone. Star stood by herself until Khalil approached her. Khalil is Star's childhood best friend, but they haven't seen each other in months. Star noticed that Khalil seems to be doing better from the way he's dressed to his new shoes. She's not sure where he got the money from. Khalil's mother is a crackhead, and they're living with his grandmother, Rosalie. But Rosalie was recently diagnosed with cancer and is currently undergoing chemotherapy. While Khalil and Star talked, there was a commotion, and then they heard a gunshot. Scared, they ran away from the party. The two of them got into Khalil's car. They weren't sure where they were going. They just wanted to get away. While inside the vehicle, they listened to Tupac. Khalil told her about the meaning of thug life. He said it stood for, "The hate you give little infants fucks everybody." Suddenly, they were pulled over by a policeman. Star made sure to remember the badge number, 115. Officer 115 asked for Khalil's license, which he gave. Star was scared and remembered what her parents had told her, so she politely followed the officer's instructions. Khalil followed the orders too, but he wasn't as polite. He was asked to step out, and the officer checked his pockets. After that, Khalil leaned back into the car to ask Star if she was all right, and then he was shot by Officer 115. The ambulance and other police arrived. Star's parents also came to pick her up. No one knew yet that she had been in the car with Khalil the night he was killed, but someone saw her, and the police found out, so she was later asked to make a statement. She went to the detective's office and answered everything truthfully. Her identity was not disclosed. During Khalil's funeral, Star met Oprah, a lawyer and activist who wanted justice for Khalil. Star's interview with the detective didn't make any difference. Kenya convinced Star that she needed to speak up for Khalil. Kenya said that if it were the other way around, she was sure Khalil would fight for Star. Star started a blog on Tumblr and posted pictures of Khalil. It reached hundreds of reblogs. Star also did a televised interview. Her lawyer, Oprah, helped her prepare for it. In the interview, Star told the truth again and revealed that the officer also pointed a gun at her. Her identity was not exposed. The interview got high ratings and received positive feedback. After the interview, Star returned to her daily life. She attended prom with her white boyfriend, Chris. Chris was very cold toward her during the dance, but it was revealed that he had watched Star's interview. Her face wasn't shown, but Chris recognized her voice in the back of her head. He was hurt that Star didn't trust him enough to tell him what happened. They reconciled that night, and Star decided to open up to Chris. She told him what happened to Khalil and also about Natasha, who was killed at 10 years old. Her killer was never caught. As they talked in the car, they were interrupted by Seven, Star's brother, and Kenya's, who asked them to go back to the party. Star's interview gathered sympathy from many viewers, but it still didn't lead to charges against Officer 115. Star agreed to be a witness for the grand jury. Once again, she answered every question truthfully. According to Officer 115, he felt threatened because Khalil went back inside the car and said something that sounded like, "I'm gonna," today. He also claimed to have seen something that resembled a handgun, which is why he shot Khalil. The truth was, Khalil had only gone back to ask, "Star, are you okay?" And what the officer thought was a handgun was actually just a hairbrush. It took a long time for the jury to give their decision. When the verdict was announced, Star, Chris, Seven, Devante, and Kenya were all in the car. Officer 115 would not go to jail. Outraged, they decided to protest. Star, Chris, Seven, and Devante joined the protest. It even reached a point where Star stood on top of a police patrol car and gave a powerful speech. When the officers threw tear gas at them, she threw it back. When the riot got really bad, the four of them ran. Devante could barely walk. He was the most injured because he had been beaten by King Lord earlier that night. King had been looking for Devante because he stole from him. The night of the party where Star and Khalil met, Devante's brother was shot. Devante stole from King to get money to send his mother and sister away to keep them safe. Devante had been hiding at Carlos's house. Carlos is Star's uncle, who is also a detective. That night, Devante suddenly disappeared after being picked up by King's men and taken to their house, where they beat him. It was Kenya who called 7 for help. In the middle of the riot, the 4 of them managed to get a ride on a truck. The truck was driven by some goons who were willing to help. They ended up at Maverick's grocery store. They got milk and poured it on their faces to relieve the burning from the tear gas. After getting milk, the goons and the reporter who had tagged along left. It was just the 4 of them in the store, and Star was planning to call her mom from the store's landline to tell her they were okay. But before she could, a flaming bottle was thrown into the store, and it suddenly caught fire. They were trapped and didn't have the key to the doors. As the fire spread, they saw Mr. Lewis outside. They screamed until he saw them. Star's parents also arrived and were able to open the back door. Once they were all safe, they saw King and his guys across the street. King admitted that he set the store on fire. When the police arrived, Mr. Lewis told them King was responsible. Maverick backed him up, but the officers said that unless they saw him do it, it wasn't enough to send King to prison. Suddenly, other onlookers started saying they saw King start the fire, so King was arrested. Since it was just arson, King would likely be released soon, but Devante decided to be a witness and tell the police what he knew about King's drug deals. The next day, Star saw herself in the newspaper. There was a photo of her throwing the tear gas can with the caption, "Witness fights back." She was all over the news, and people admired her bravery. Later on, the Carters went to the store to clean up what was left. There wasn't much. Every now and then, someone would honk and shout their support. Eventually, Mr. Lewis informed Maverick that he would be giving him his store, as he planned to retire. The End of the Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Here are some additional scenes from the story. Aisha, who is Kenya and 7's mother and King's wife, ended up with a concussion after King beat her up. Aside from Kenya, Star also had 2 friends from Williamson, Maya and Haley. Star eventually decided to end her friendship with Haley after realizing how racist and dismissive she had been. Their earlier arguments made Star see that it was time to let go. In the end, Star and her family moved out of Garden Heights to a new home in a safer neighborhood. However, they plan to continue rebuilding and running their family grocery store, staying connected to their roots and their community. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, grab The Hate You Give via the link in my bio. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other summaries. See you next time.